Han-na-ra is the lucky bride who is about to marry the son of a very rich family. This should be one of the happiest days of her life, but her face says it is not so. On the other hand, Jung-yeol is an unemployed man who is drowning his sorrows in a bar because his ex-girlfriend is getting married to a man he met only 2 months ago. His girlfriend is Na-ra, the girl who is about to get married. After lamenting and falling asleep for quite a while, he decides to go interrupt the wedding and steal the bride like they did in the old days. But when he opens the door, Na-ra was already there. She herself had run away from the wedding to look for him. Jung-yeol tells her that he was about to go and steal her away. She smiles and tells him that next time he better not be late. It turns out that they had broken up because Jung-yeol failed the entrance exam to become a lawyer and thought that it wouldn't be good enough for her since she did get into college and comes from a wealthy family. So Na-ra sends him to meet her mother. She is a very refined and elegant woman, so Jung-yeol thinks she will treat him badly and despise him for not being rich like her daughter's ex-boyfriend. But at the meeting, she offers him an envelope with money, and Jung-yeol tells him that he cannot accept the money because he thinks it is a payment to get away from his daughter. But his mother-in-law tells him that it is actually money for their new house. Jung-yeol is very confident, but he is also very happy. She tells him not to be so happy because just because she allows it does not mean that they can get married already. Before that, he needs to win the blessing of General Han-na-ra's father. When he goes to ask for his daughter's hand, General Han curses him and refuses flatly, but Na-ra tells him that she loves him more than her father. This leaves General Han astonished, but when he thought that things had calmed down, he comes back with his shotgun and tries to kill the groom. Jung-yeol tells her to shoot him and says that if she doesn't accept his marriage, he would rather die. In the end, her father accepts and ends up having a small wedding with only family and friends because Na-ra had already escaped from the previous ceremony. This seemed to be the typical happy ending of a drama. But years later, the beautiful drama of love had become a drama of suspense and terror because their movie marriage had become a nightmare. Both hated each other. It was as if they could no longer tolerate living with each other, and it was as if they hated each other to death and did nothing for each other, so they decided to divorce. In the court of law, they both tell what bothers them about each other and explain why they decided to divorce after having a movie-like love. Na-ra is bothered by Jung-yeol's inferiority complex because she was born in a less privileged family and sees Na-ra's normal life as too luxurious and ostentatious. He tells her that the problem started on their honeymoon. They had gone to Switzerland and he wanted to go sightseeing, but Na-ra only wanted to spend time alone with him, so she stayed at the hotel, and Jung-yeol went out sightseeing alone. When they were already living together, she was the one who had a job and earned money. Once she wanted to give $100 to her friend's sister for her wedding, but Na-ra told her that an unemployed man shouldn't take care of other people's younger sisters. That really hurt her, so every chance she got, she would remind Na-ra that she had married an unemployed man. Meanwhile, Na-ra says that she also had a hard time because Jung-yeol's family, especially her mother-in-law, whenever she could reminded her that she was born in a rich family and so she did not understand the customs of humble people. Jung-yeol replied that his mother only wanted to cut down on expenses, but Na-ra told him that a man who wanted to cut down on expenses would not dry his private parts with a hairdryer. It turns out that one Christmas, Jung-yeol had been to the family dinner at Na-ra's house, and his nephew had found him in the bathroom in the middle of drying his hair, and since then the boy has not been the same. This bothers him a lot, and he tells the judges that Na-ra doesn't bathe, and that every time baby always looks for Jung-yeol to do dirty things without taking a shower first. She tried to seduce him in every possible way, but Jung-yeol didn't like the taste of her mouth when she drank, so he almost always turned her down. He tells her that he cheated on her with his secretary, but Jung-yeol replies that she was the one who was actually unfaithful because she had once gone drinking alone with a director, and this had caused all kinds of rumors. He tells the judges that the breaking point was the day before his bar exam, and that day he had gone to bed early so as not to have problems at the time of the exam, but in the morning, Na-ra had left the stove on so everything had burned down and almost set his house on fire. This made Jung-yeol in a very bad condition to take his exam, but in the end he does manage to pass. Upon hearing all this, the judges grant them the divorce and tell them they must wait 30 days before their divorce becomes becomes official. When they had to leave, they both left in the same vehicle, and on the way, they argued about who wanted the divorce first, so they didn't realize when they ran a red light and then ended up crashing into a truck. Both were badly injured, and when they woke up, they both lost their memories. They didn't even recognize their parents, and when Jung-yeol's mother approaches Nara, her body panics because she recognizes that she is in danger. The doctor is a fan of dramas, so he explains to them how common this is in novels, so Nara's sister tells them that they might get their memories back and they hit their heads again like it happens in dramas. Then Jung-yeol's parents throw a rock at him, but the hit had been too hard, and they end up sending him to the emergency room. In the room, Jung-yeol asks Nara if she remembers what is being celebrated in 15 days, to which she replies no, but her younger sister tells them that it is the day when their divorce becomes effective. Jung-yeol is confused and worried, but Nara seems to be relieved and glad to hear that. Meanwhile, the doctor tells them that he will discharge them tomorrow and asks their mothers not to stand up to the married couple, as being in familiar surroundings might help them regain their memory. Both mothers agree to let them stay together until their divorce becomes effective, on the condition that their younger sister will keep an eye on them so that they don't fall in love again. When they arrive at their house, everyone is surprised to see the conditions in which they live, since everything is very messy and there are many bottles of soju. A few days later, on the doctor's recommendation, they decide to have a small party with people who know them so that they can tell them things about themselves, so that maybe their memories can come back sooner. His father-in-law tries to intimidate Jung-yeol, but he thinks he is playing games and plays along, and he thinks he likes him, which we all know he doesn't. One by one, all their acquaintances pass by, but in the end it was no use. Neither of them remembers anything at all. When he goes to the restroom, Jung-yeol meets his loving older brother, and he tells him how he and Nara met. He was studying for his exam at a disco, and when he was about to leave, his older brother misunderstood things and thought he needed to meet a girl, so he took Nara to him so they could meet, but things didn't go so well because Jung-yeol didn't know how to conquer a girl. So he ended up scaring her, and Nara left. When he had given up, he sees her again and sees that she was drowning, so he runs to save her and takes her to the hospital. Because first she fell in love with the doctor and went out with him, but fate wanted them to meet again, because one day at a baseball game he saw her again and she was drunk because her boyfriend had cheated on her. When the game was over, she had been left alone in the rain, and Jun-yeol ran to cover her with an umbrella and offered to take her home. On the way, he tried to be romantic, but she told him that unless he wanted to meet a grandmother, not to do that kind of thing. But in the end, he did like the detail and asked for her number, and that's how they really started dating. The next day, Jung-yeol's mother takes them to hypnotism therapy to recover their memories. The therapist asks them when their relationship started to deteriorate. He tells her that it was the morning of her exam with the pot burning. But here we learn that Nara did not do it with bad intentions. On the contrary, because she knew that her husband suffers from irritable bowel syndrome, and she wanted to cook something so that it would not affect her exam. But because she was drunk, she had fallen asleep. In the end, they both apologize and forgive each other, but they still haven't recovered their memories. So the dramatic doctor proposes to send them to their jobs so that they can recover their memories faster. When Jung-yeol arrives at his office, the boss scolds him for not remembering him, but it turns out that it wasn't really the boss, but the cleaning man who was playing a joke on him. When they get home, they get to know each other, and after a few days, their old habits start to appear. And not only that, but Jung-yeol's sexual instinct awakens when he sees Nara eating strawberries, and this unlocks some of his childhood memories. When they go to the doctor, he suggests that they sleep together as husband and wife so that they can recover their memories. This is a difficult decision. So first they go on a date and how they met at a baseball game. They both go to the stadium and start talking about their marriage, but the guard kicks them out because he wants to go home. After that, they get hungry and eat in the street as they are leaving and walk in the rain. A nice memory of Nara appears and instinctively kisses Jung-yeol, but he immediately apologizes and asks her to take a drink. Immediately apologizes and asks for another drink. When they arrive at his older brother's bar, they both get along better than before, and all their friends tell them that as things are, it would be better not to get divorced, but after that drink, they both give free rein to their love and start doing little things on his brother's couch and in front of everyone. So everyone has to go outside because it's so uncomfortable. The next day, they arrive home separately as if they hadn't spent the night together. Then they spend a nice afternoon and they feel more and more in love and even do the delicious love act again. When they were in the second round, their younger sister arrives and catches them in the middle of the act, so she calls their mother to tell her that her sister was forcing Jung-yeol to do little things. He runs out to stop her, but he steps on a ball and gets a tremendous shock when he wakes up. His look and attitude are different. He looks at Na-ra differently. The next day, Na-ra's mother tells him that it's over and that she will send her daughter to study abroad to be away from Jung-yeol, and as he had recovered his memories, he doesn't object. At night, Na-ra comes back to see him and tells him that she can feel how he looks at her with hatred. That means that her memories came back. She wanted him to ask her to stay, but Jung-yeol tells her that in the end, her mother was right, so Na-ra says goodbye and leaves. The next day, they both go to sign their divorce, and this time, Na-ra says goodbye to him angrily, and when Jung-yeol arrives home, he sees the baseball ball that Na-ra had left him that says, "I hope our memories never come back." This touches Jung-yeol. Suddenly, his mother-in-law arrives and tells him to hurry, and also tells him what time his daughter's flight leaves, and before leaving, she tells him not to be late this time, but Jung-yeol doesn't understand what she means, but his friends tell him to go get his former wife back. He replies that it's too late, they are officially divorced, but the friend who never talks tells him that if they don't report it to the district office, they have another 3 months until it becomes official. Jung-yeol has a flashback, but he only remembers the bad times of their relationship, but he still wants to go after Na-ra, and on the way, he finally gets a good remembrance. When he finds her and talks to her from the bottom of his heart and tells her how he feels and that despite the bad, he always loved her and that he wanted to try again, he gave her a very nice and touching speech, but she had her headphones on and had heard absolutely nothing. This kills the moment, and even though he says it again, the speech doesn't come out like before, and Na-ra just says goodbye to him. But when they leave the airport, a tow truck takes her truck away, and Na-ra also goes out to talk to her husband. She tells him that it's not fair for them to get divorced because he is divorcing her because of the bad memories he has of her. So they decide to take the 3 months they have left as a test to see if the good memories they have outweigh the bad ones. The drama ends with the spouses giving each other a passionate kiss. If you liked the video, do not forget to give a like and subscribe to the channel to not miss any video. Thank you very much for watching this video until the end.